Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to post-episode issues, Sons of Anarchy, episode 12 of season 7. I said that backwards because it was a friggin' crazy episode that has me all messed up. The episode was called Red Rose, and it happened. Ding dong, the bitch is dead. The wicked bitch. Ding dong, Gemma is dead, Joe. It happened.
Finally.
Now, was this satisfying for you? Was it worth the wait?
Grab them shoes and go home, Jax.
Look at the flowers, Gemma. Again, we had, similar to The Walking Dead with Carol, spoiler alert, killing somebody last year. Talk to the flowers, talk to the flowers. Tell me about the rabbits, George. It's okay, baby.
Look at the pretty flowers. Look at the pretty flowers.
It's okay. Shoot me in the back of the head. I don't mind.
Yep.
Holy shit, what an episode, the penultimate episode of Sons of Anarchy, and this, again, same as last week's episode, this was one of the best. It started off a little slow. The very first half of the episode, we'll get into talking about it bits and pieces, but the very first part of the episode had me a little on, come on, let's get to something here, but the end part of this episode was like going down the craziest loop of a roller coaster at the end. And Kurt Sutter said, "You want this? Fuck you. You've been asking for this? Go fuck yourself here." And I will quote Kurt Sutter himself from the Anarchy afterwards, "The bitch had to die eventually," and she did.
Yeah.
If this is your
I love that Peggy laughed at that. Gemma laughed at that. Whatever the hell her real name is. I can't think right now because it's Katie Seagal laughed at that, and then she realized she laughed at like her character being called a bitch on live TV. It kind of like straightened out real quick. It was funny.
It's funny though. She definitely, I think she's aware of her character and what people think of her character.
Oh, definitely.
And
she plays it so well. She if that's any. It's got to be nothing like her in real life. The amount of work she does in real life, there's no way people would put up with a woman that was anywhere close to that type of personality. So
I really feel like her and Kurt Sutter have a very interesting, funny kind of relationship between the two of them. And Kurt Sutter seems to be just one of the funniest, sickest pricks on the planet. And for him to find the perfect girl for that kind of situation, it shows a lot about who Katie Seagal is as a person. She might be a little bit of "Oh, Kurt, why don't you put my song in the episode?" And he's like, "Oh, sure, whatever, honey, whatever. But I'm still gonna kill you brutally at the end of this series. Don't you worry, ha ha ha."
Yeah.
But everybody, if this is your first time tuning in.
Well, no. I'm gonna do some brutal things to you during the season.
Oh,
but the end of your life will be relatively peaceful. You get to look at the flowers.
True. We're gonna have Henry Rollins gang rape you or something like that. But everybody, if this is your first time tuning in to post-episode issues, please hit the subscribe button, and please tell us what you thought of this episode of Sons of Anarchy and what you thought of the series leading up to this point. Is this too soon? Is this not soon enough for Gemma? Were you hoping for this to be taken to the very last minute of the episode, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen? I'm very, very happy with where she died in this episode, and this is something I said to Joe last night. Simply because now we have a whole episode of Sons of Anarchy, the final episode with no Gemma. Gemma's not there.
It's just one episode. Well, we don't know that. There might be flashbacks, dream sequences, weird things can happen that will bring Gemma. It could bring Gemma into the last episode. Not having seen too much of that throughout the series, I wouldn't expect it. But
could Jack start talking to Gemma's ghost, like Gemma was talking to Tara's ghost?
Like mother, like son.
Yeah, could they start talking to the ghost of? But it was really good, and we're spitting on the lead here. It's not just Gemma. They killed Juice too. Poor little Juicy. Juicy is Juice. His throat got hacked.
Triple murder.
Not just that, Joe. He got killed by Marilyn Manson.
Yep, Manson killed him.
Manson killed him. In prison, no less. Oh my gosh! And he was a Nazi. I didn't connect that. He was playing Manson with the.
You didn't connect that Manson was a white supremacist that whole time?
Just the connection to, a lot of people call me Charles Manson, but a lot of connection to the fact that I know Charles Manson's not a Nazi, but he has a swastika chopped in his head, and he's leading the.
Yeah. He thought the whole race war was coming. Helter Skelter and that stuff. So
I'm just the fact that Manson's playing a guy in prison like that. I don't know. I didn't connect the fact of the name connection of the two names.
Tully, he did a good job. I was skeptical at both him and Kurt Cobain's
Courtney Love.
Courtney Hole. Yeah.
Courtney Hall.
I was definitely skeptical of both of them, but I gotta say, Courtney Love, she was great in the Penthouse movie, a Hustler movie, like Larry Flint movie.
Google versus Larry
Yeah,
Flint.
and she was great in this. Like she's not a bad actress when she's got good direction and good people around her. She's definitely a good actress, whatever she is in real life, whatever. But
Absolutely, Joe. She's a good actress in real life too, because she lied about killing Kurt Cobain. So I didn't say that. Whoa, shots fired. Shots fired here. I'm kidding.
Take that, Courtney Hole.
Right, a fucking hole in your face, bitch. So Courtney Hole, I agree. She did a good job this season. I think she's good at playing a bitch too. So having someone to bitch off with Gemma was decent casting. I think Sons of Anarchy, for the most part, deals with cameos pretty well. I liked Tom Arnold on the show. I liked Chickless last night was a good touch. They know not to overdo it. When they had Leah Michelle from Glee on it earlier in this year. I think they understand not to shove a cameo down your throat unless you're someone that doesn't like the Venus stuff. Then I can understand someone thinking that the Venus cameo is a little bit too much. If you're not into that, which I am, I think it was
Venus. That storyline was amazing. Venus storyline, Tig, that was an amazing. Okay. That went right along with everything we've seen from Tig season after season with the mushroom tripping and all this other weird shit that Tig's done. The Kachina. He's an amazing character, well written, and Venus was perfectly interlaced into the story for him.
Now, Joe,
amazing.
Now, Joe, last week I got a chance to talk a little bit about what I think about Sons of Anarchy as a whole and how I got into the show. Before we get into talking about before we get into that, but we have one more thing to talk about before give me a little bit of your opinions of Sons of Anarchy in the whole, like sum it up a little bit. But the one other thing we need to talk about quickly, the other headline from the episode is Unser's dead. I just skipped all over that. Unser got shot, and that's the biggest murdered by Jax, and that's the biggest surprise of me for the episode. We're going to get into that in a second. But Joe, how did you come to Sons of Anarchy? You watched it from the beginning, right?
Yep, from episode 1. I don't think I ever had to watch a single episode on demand. As far as as a whole, I believe that there was seasons I don't like. I was kind of really bored with the go to Ireland stuff and the kidnapping crap.
And last season you weren't a big fan of either.
Correct. Last season I was a little bummed of. But ultimately I thought there was great moments in every season, and as a whole it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time. An exciting, frustrating ride, and it's a lifestyle and a life that I've always been interested in. I ride motorcycles. I know a lot of guys in clubs and, great people. Absolutely. So, and wonderful, amazing, the best people I have ever met in my life.
But seriously, we
teddy bears.
They're really cool, and most of the guys that we know that have any connection to it are really awesome dudes. For real.
And so as a series, I thought it was great. And this is a fictional series, and I thought it was great. I really liked pretty much everything they did, with exception in a couple of seasons. But great. It's one of my top 10 favorites of all time, TV series as a whole.
Now, I would go with next.
Great casting. The addition of characters for certain seasons. I thought they did a great job with that. You can't overlook the additions of, like you said, the cameos that came through. Donald Logue for a season, Jimmy Smits for a couple of seasons, even Dave Navarro. He wasn't overdone. He's not the best actor in the world, but I didn't mind him being there. Is the thing.
Short-lived. It was short-lived.
If I didn't know who Dave Navarro was, and I wasn't a fan of his music for so long, and some of the other things he's done, and then hated him because of the Ink show that he's done, maybe I wouldn't have thought so poorly about him as a whole in the show. But I thought he wasn't bad, and I can overlook that for what he did. So
no, absolutely. And I would think he was just a bad soap opera actor that was happening in Sons of Anarchy or something.
Yeah, right.
Trying to do a really horrible accent.
Yeah, tell me, Mayor Joe Hale was an awesome throat also.
I really, really, really hope he is in the next episode because we haven't seen him all season.
We haven't. We haven't. There's got to be. There's got to be something. I think we saw him.
Did we see him earlier in the season?
Last season or at the very beginning of this season, they had to go to him to make some sort of quick deal, or I'm not sure exactly, but I know we saw him either at the very end of last season or at the very beginning of this season. I can't put my finger on it though.
So I would say that also something about Sons of Anarchy, and I talked a little bit about this last week. It's one of my favorite shows of all time too, but it's also one of my favorite shows in the world to make fun of all time. It's when it's great, and when it's silly action, Arnold Schwarzenegger last action hero-ish at times. Every
time Jax walks away from the camera is a funny moment. It's a funny moment.
Yeah.
Those bright white sneakers, like limping across the screen. It's just amazing. It's great.
Especially in early seasons. Watching Charlie Hunnam try to act in the early seasons with all the great actors around him, with Ron Perlman and Pig and everybody around, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm acting too."
Yeah, with all the real tough guys, he had to put on a big tough guy.
But by the end, and this is what I was talking about last week as well. By the end, he's grown the most as an actor on the show.
Yeah, I like some of the other things I've seen him in little bit parts, like in Children of Men. It's a small part, but he's convincing in the role. I like him.
I think the problem is in movies like Pacific Rim, he can't carry a whole movie by
right. Or this, he did a movie, The Ledge or Ledge or something like that with Steven Tyler's daughter, and it was a awful fucking movie.
Rumor Willis or Liv Tyler?
Liv.
All right.
Rumor Willis is Steve Tyler's kid.
All over the place.
They all are. They all are. So let's get right into this because I can't wait to talk about Jack's ass at the end. I can't. I gotta get.
Oh, they had to give it to us one more time, right?
I'll say it like I said last night. Do me like I'm Christopher. Do me like your name's Christopher. Now, I don't know.
Did the series start with a fuck scene with them?
Yes, it did.
So that's awesome.
Oh, that's appropriate.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So the episode starts off and we see Jax getting dressed and putting on his rings and getting, as all the bikes of the rest of the club members pull up outside. He looks down at his hands. We see that he's still wearing the wedding ring, Joe. He's still connecting to Tara. He still hasn't quite let that go. He didn't have sex with Cosette before he has had sex with the Tara lookalike.
And he had sex with I thought he had sex with Colette. No,
he was going to, but then she got killed.
Okay.
Remember, they all got murdered. She said, "Come back later tonight," and he said, "Maybe I will." And when they came, and then all of them got killed in the assassination of what was that place called? Diosa.
The Diosa massacres.
The Diosa massacre.
All go down in history.
It will go down in history as one of the
Diosa Norte massacre, man.
I feel like we're talking about a scene out of Goodfellas where they're talking about a robbery. They got more money than pigs got tits. I don't know. So all the guys come in, and Alvarez is there too, and they hand Jax a clean shirt because they're like, we don't want to look at your rippling biceps. And he tucks his gun into his pants, and they realize that Jax is limping a little bit. And it's not the Jax walk; he's actually limping. And he says he's sorry. And, Alvarez says he's sorry because he heard what happened to Tara, and he's sorry about everything. It's family business, and there's some shit, but there's no going back on what happened with the Chinese, right or wrong. Tig tells them that Tyler and Nero are on their way, and they're gonna have a big meeting. And they're meeting Connor, one of the guys from the IRA, to talk about the guns. Happy tells him that also that there's a forum meeting, and the guy is that the Terminator?
Yep.
It is the Terminator. He looks a lot like, but he's been through hell or
T2, yep.
T2. And T2, who's this guy named Packer, who is the head of one of the other charters of Sons of Anarchy. He's coming down, and all the presidents are going to sit around and talk about the jury situation. Rat Boy says they've heard nothing about where Gemma is. Could you turn me down just a little bit, Joe? and he says he hasn't heard anything about where Gemma is, that Gemma's staying off the grid. And then we flash over to Wendy. It's our usual beginning of an episode of Sons of Anarchy where we touch base with everybody and see what everyone's up to.
Yeah, the opening montage, so to speak. Usually it's a Katie Seagal song, but today we were spared again.
Yeah, we were
overloaded last season. Oh my God! Beginning and the end. Every episode was an hour and a half long, but there was a 10-minute Seagal and a 10-minute beginning and ending Seagal montage. It had me nuts last year.
And I think that's the moderate problem about last year, and we talked a lot about this last year before we did the podcast. That last year should have been the last season, and Kurt Sutter decided to do one extra. In some ways, I'm really happy he did because I like. In
some ways, it's almost 1.5 extra because each episode this year has been an hour and a half long.
Exactly, but he very easily could have done something like had this whole storyline lead to a point and then finish the whole series off with a 2.5-hour TV movie or something like that. He didn't have to have all of last year. All of last year there was a lot of padding last year. Yeah. Last season was a lot of we don't need to do this, but they did it anyway.
Yeah, let's squeak out one more season. Let people find other jobs.
Exactly. So Wendy packs and make sure we get enough episodes to make another DVD set and pad everyone's pocket one more time or something. Right. So Wendy packs Abel's lunch and asks, what's that girl? The girl's named Brooke, I think. And Brooke asks her if she's seen Gemma. The girls obviously haven't heard what happened with Gemma yet. Brooke asks if it's weird being there after the whole tower situation. And this was a good Wendy episode. This is one of my favorite Wendy episodes with her reaction. And she's like, yeah, that's kind of weird, but it's even weirder that I OD'd right over there. See right over there? I OD'd right over there.
While I was pregnant with the kid.
Yeah. Brooke says that must have been hard, and Wendy says she feels more at home here than she did back then. Probably because she's not a junkie. And Gemma's a lot more crazy, I've lost my mind since I've killed Tara. Gemma is very friendly to Wendy.
Yeah, but even back then, I think she was already in the mode of cleaning up and not being a junkie anymore. Mm-hmm. And Gemma made her shot her up, didn't she, twice?
Yeah, a couple times.
In the hospital.
Once in the hospital. I thought or Gemma was the one that gave her the drugs and dangled them in front of her face to make her OD or something.
But for whatever it's worth, Gemma's situation. Gemma just tries to kill all Jax's girls, huh?
She's woman number one.
Her dudes and his chicks.
Yeah, she's a psycho, man.
To everybody but Nero. Nero doesn't see the psycho side.
She just hasn't been there. He just hasn't been there long enough, dude.
I forget what it is.
Let's look at how their relationship ends. Him and we get there, but basically his heart torn out of his freaking chest. He's another victim too.
Yeah, he's kind of
absolutely that phone call last week where he was standing behind her listening. We didn't hear what Jax was saying, but he was telling him the story. Oh my God, his heart was combusted, spontaneously imploded in his chest. He was dead right then and there almost.
The big question I have is
he understands everything that Jax is at that moment. He understands everything. It's all clear to him.
But do you think he thinks somewhere inside of his head Jax wouldn't actually do this? Do you think he's going to be surprised when he finds out?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
You think he's going to seek revenge on Jax?
No.
Katie said,
I don't think he's gonna. I think
he wanted to save Jax.
Yeah, I think it's he's gonna take Wendy and the kids to the farm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been predicting that, and I hope they're happy together.
They have good chemistry. I'm not really sure together, but
no, I don't mean together romantically. I just mean I hope they're happy and they can raise these kids in somewhat of a normal environment. And
yes, I think that's what we're gonna see.
Keep Abel off the clock tower killing people.
Yeah.
I just watched a documentary about that last night.
About Abel killing people?
Yes.
The clock tower.
The blonde guy on the clock tower.
The blonde guy in the clock tower. That's what I was thinking. That could be Abel in the future. That could be future Abel. So next we see Unser at Gemma's place cleaning up dishes. He tosses down the key to the house and he leaves to symbolize that he's all done with this shit. Gemma's asleep in her car at a truck stop, and a guy wakes her up.
And ridiculous.
He says she's in a rig zone. She says she's sorry that it was empty, and she pulled in. She cranks up the car and pulls out. Gemma moves the car. This is before Chickless. She puts on her sunglasses and
No, that was Chickless.
yeah.
Chickless is the truck driver that comes up to. I spot him immediately. I was like, "Ah, Chickie!"
Yeah, he comes back.
Which is awesome because he was the Shield. Kurt Sutter did the Shield.
And
to come in at the last episodes, 2 episodes, second to last episode of the season is pretty cool. Nice cameo.
Was that guy from a couple seasons ago with Sons of Anarchy that blew up with the grenade? Kozak or something was his name, I believe. He was also from the Shield.
Yeah, he was also on the Saving Grace, Pensacola Wings of Gold, I think.
There's been a bunch of.
Yeah, what's his name? Her lover in Saving Grace.
So there's been a bunch of cameos to Kurt Suther's other things. So Gemma moves her car, puts her sunglasses on, she slumps back into her seat to try to go back to sleep. Then we go back over to Jax and the guys, and they're talking to the Mayans about territory after the Chinese thing and how to split it up. Nero's there too, still mitigating the situation, but I keep asking myself, Nero, get the fuck.
Why hasn't he already left? He sold his business. He signed the papers. Gemma's a murdering weirdo. He shouldn't be sitting. See y'all later. I'm going to the farm. I'm done. You can't be done unless you're done. Damn it. And he just keeps talking it, but he's not doing it.
Especially in this situation. Why the hell is he there sitting in on this meeting?
He's still the go-between. He still has the bizlats that he's representing.
Yeah. And also, it's one of
these gangs.
It's one of those things when you leave and like you quit the band and then you keep going to the band shows because you're like, oh my god, I wish I was still in the band.
Right.
He wants to quit, but he doesn't quite have the. He still believes in the game, still loves the game, and feels kind of weird.
He hates the game. He loves the people.
Exactly. These are his friends. In a weird way, Jax has become one of his closest friends and sort of a son figure, and he's looked at Nero as sort of a father figure. And what's his name?
And that gets expressed right after the meeting here. They meet, and the guy Connor's like, no, fuck you, no guns for you Mexicans, don't like you, and I'm gonna bring this to the kings, and but you can all go fuck yourself. And when the meeting breaks up after the Mayans say, you're this isn't good, Jax. You're gonna have to make good this somehow, and if it doesn't, go fuck yourself. And they end that meeting kind of on good terms, though. And then Jackson, this is where Jackson and Smitty have this little heart-to-heart, and we see that he actually does think of him as a brother. He says it in Spanish to him to really drive it home, and Jack says it back to him. Yeah, you're my brother too.
Hermano. Who the hell is this Hermano?
This is where Jack says, bring the kids to the farm. Get them out of here. Bring Wendy and the kids to the farm. Shit's about to go bad.
Yep, and whatever you do, don't tell them to look at the flowers.
Right.
Never tell them to look at the flowers. We've learned that's bad. Duke Chronic, thank you for joining us. He says, hey guys, Nero is a mess, and I agree. He's completely fucked in his head. That he probably that he didn't see this thing with Gemma because he's so in love with her and thinks of her in such high regard. He probably never. All of us being in this God seat and seeing everything Gemma's done, her killing Tara isn't this big stretch. But to Nero, who sees her as his love, his paramour or whatever, he looks at her and says, holy shit, she killed Tara? I can't believe she didn't do. Oh, she did that?
Well, and you got to think that he's thinking back, too, of the 2 dead husbands. Now he's got to be thinking about all of it. She pinned that shit on the Chinese, all the dead Chinese, all the dead prostitutes, all the dead husbands, all the dead wives.
Ooh.
It all, lands at her feet in his head. It's got to.
Interesting perspective from Duke Chronic. He thinks Jax is going to get the Grim Bastards, and we definitely agree with him.
Yeah.
And he's going to get them in the Suns, and then the trick to getting them out of the Mayhem is going to get them in the Suns first, and then they're going to vote no Mayhem.
No, he's going to get Mayhem.
No, it's got to be Mayhem first, and then as a tribute to, they said they would make sure there's a unanimous vote for something that we don't know. But I really think that that unwritten rule that's been around since the founding with his father that he's once gone, which is if you look back season after season. Well, we'll get into this.
Yeah, we'll get into that, especially when we get into Juice. I tend to think that something is going to save Jack from the Mayhem vote, simply because
nothing saves him. Nope.
This is what I think. I think someone doesn't vote for Mayhem and he's gonna die somewhere else.
Oh.
He might end up killing himself with his father's bike, driving to the same spot that JT died.
You think? I was thinking that too. I was thinking that too.
That's what I'm thinking.
I was gonna get there at the end of the episode.
That Terminator 2 is gonna not vote for Mayhem because he believes in him, but Jax is gonna feel like he deserves it and sacrifice himself because he has nothing to fucking live for, because he doesn't look at his kids as something to live for. He's gonna consider Nero or Falcon.
I'm right, like that.
He thinks they're better off without it.
I think that, yeah.
But we're okay. We don't even have to talk about the episode. Podcast over. Done.
Bring him to the farm.
Yeah, we're going home. We're going home. Slam. Okay. So
The goddamn goats and cows.
The goddamn, yeah, man, we got pigs and chickens and man, goddamn goats. They're gonna love it.
So Jax thanks him for looking after his boys after this whole situation. And we also need to get some closure next week with RoboCop, because it gets discussed that Jack says, "I'll handle RoboCop." So I'm looking forward to a situation. Sons, Duke Chronic says sons don't kill themselves. I agree that sons mainly don't kill themselves, but I think Jax is in a really fucked up place.
Oh yeah.
I tend to agree with you that that's probably not going to happen. That he might end up going out in some big form of glory to save the club in some big hella gunfire or something like that. I don't always see Kurt Sutter doing the obvious, and right now it's set up that, oh, Jax is going to get killed by...
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's going to be spared the Mayhem vote, right? The Grim Bastards will get signed in or whatever, patched over anyway, and he'll be on his way down to the farm, and he'll get run off the road by a truck like his father was.
Ooh, you're getting somewhere here.
In that same spot. And it will be on purpose. It'll be RoboCop, or it'll be some Niner or some just random fuck that runs him over.
Yeah, or
somebody that drops a cup of coffee in their lap, they'll show. You know, we won't even know what's going on. It'll be just this random guy. Big truck driver, and it'll be like, ooh, taking a hit of meth or something.
It'll be the commish.
Oh, snap!
Commish, Mayor Joe Hale, maybe. It'd be very interesting to see, but I don't see the series ending without Jax dying. No. I don't see Jax living at the end.
Right.
That to me, that's the most unlikely scenario, unless everybody else dies around him. Like he gets like everybody at the table killed, and he's sitting there alive.
Club destroyed.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah, some apocalyptic.
The worst thing in the world that could happen to Jax is the club is destroyed. Not his death, but the club is destroyed.
Right. And it's just going to be it's very interesting that they got all of this business done in this episode, and set up this final episode to be all action based around gang stuff, around RoboCop stuff, around club stuff, where Gemma's gone.
Yep.
Duke Chronic, Jack saved Chucky from the Asians, and this could be the justice that a guy saves kills him. That a guy that he saved kill him. I've heard a lot of this, that Chucky ends up being a rat somehow connected to the Asians, and that somehow Chucky might be responsible for Jack's death in some manner. They keep mentioning Chucky here and there, and they've been putting him back in the episodes where he's been disappeared for a while. I feel like Chucky has some business to do in this last episode.
Chucky is the scooter driver.
No hands.
No hands, yeah.
I have no... yes, and good point, Duke Chronic says that Chucky was the last Gemma minion. So when Chucky hears that Jax killed Gemma, maybe Chucky could do a little Benny Blanco from the Bronx on him.
Ooh,
no, I think Chucky knew that Gemma was gone.
Yeah, that's why he said say goodbye. Tell her I love. Make sure I tell her I love her when he talks to.
But then again, yeah, no, that is a good point, because he was kind of friends with Unser too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a bond. They all had a bond. The three of them being outside the club but still part of the club, and to see that Jax was responsible for both their deaths, and in some ways, I hate to say it, did not have to kill. Well, I mean, we'll get to it eventually, but he didn't have to kill Unser. There were other ways to handle that situation.
Yeah, he could have just taken a few minutes, put down his gun, put it away.
I think it was kind of a mercy.
He could have beat the shit out of him.
Well, Unser had a gun on him. You know, we saw Unser in his last fight with a Nazi put 3 rounds in his chest. Unser's not afraid to kill. Thing is I doubt he would have killed Gemma's son in front of Gemma. So
I think Unser was bluffing. Just the way he was holding the gun in that situation, I really felt like Unser wouldn't have shot Jax. If he was going to shoot him, he would have shot him already.
no, yeah, I think Unser gave his life. It was a bit of a mercy killing. I think Unser was in love with Gemma, and Unser knew what Gemma did, so he was torn. His heart was just as broken as everybody else's by this woman.
His last line was, it's
All he
I
got.
Left.
It's all he has left.
Yep, the cancer's coming for him, you know.
That's,
So we get Nero giving Jax a hug, and then they both go off. Next, we get our Juice getting raped by the gang of Chinese guys scene. Poor Juice.
Yeah, the cop comes in. He has a great couple of one-liners here. He calling everybody Jackie Chan.
Yep.
But he thinks it's the cop that's going to beat him up at first, but it ends up being the Chinese that just there to rape him. They threaten his life with a knife to the throat, and then he's like, "Have at it, boys."
It's not like I haven't been raped all month by Jackie Chan.
By Manson.
By Manson. And basically, it's them wanting payback because they feel like the white power guys had must have helped kill Lynn. So
they know it. They know it. It's all over the prison.
And then we have Jax and Connor talking, and this is where Connor, we already kind of touched upon this. Connor says that he knows the Chinese thing pissed off Lynn and he killed Bobby. He says he knows everything about the Lynn. He's not an idiot, but there's no way he's going to work with, or is this what he says, that if they bring him Rourke in town and they bring this guy Rourke to them, then he'll make sure he pushes through this deal with the Mayans.
Yeah, no, he wants Connor.
Right. If they bring him Connor, he'll bring this. He'll
okay everything. Even if we can't get the deal done long term with the Kings, we'll at least do a trial run with the Mayans and the guns. And I'll make sure the Kings do it. But you got to go kill O'Connor. And O'Connor's the guy that Jax ultimately put in charge when they killed the other guy from the IRA. Finally.
And he tells him that he won't like his Mexican solution, but they'll make it get through, and let's figure this out for us, and we'll help you. Which all of this ends up being a lot of bullshit because the other IRA guys come in later and they kill this guy and say, "Fuck him. He was skimming off the top." And like later in the episode that happened too. They kill.
I thought that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah,
I was talking about, I guess, later in the episode. They're talking to O'Connor again?
No, he was talking to Connor, and Connor tells him to find this guy Rourke. Rourke's in town. If you bring me Rourke, I'll make sure I push through.
What's he doing? What's he doing here? He's holding down the ports.
Yeah, he's holding down the ports.
He's whining and dining the Port Authority.
Oh, and is Rourke the old guy?
Rourke's the old guy.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he tells Jax that Rourke won't like the Mexican solution. Now they leave. Tig gets a call. Alvarez says if they don't get the guns, they need most of Lynn's turf, which won't make Tyler happy and will turn into a big mess because they tried to figure things out. Jack tells Alvarez to wait to hear what happens with this whole situation, and they all leave too.
And it all makes sense later why Connor is so go fuck the Mexicans. I don't need them. I don't want them. Go fuck them.
Right, because he has his own deal. We kind of already jumped the gun on that, so we'll talk about it a little bit. He has his own deal going with the Chinese. He's been a double agent.
With we don't exactly know who, but he says later it's I don't think he says who, but he says when you guys took out Marks, Rourke tells Jax when you guys took out Marks, he started selling to some of Marx's old clients at Marx's prices and skimming the money from the difference to pocket it, and we can't have that. It's all going to be about the IRA, not ourselves.
Yeah, not your problem, our problem. It's done.
Right.
Tig comes over and he says he heard from TM. He says Chucky did it, whatever that means. We don't actually hear I don't understand what this is. And Joe and I were talking about this last night. Tig says Chucky did it. And
I know what it ends up being.
But
at the time, I didn't understand what it was. I was like, what the fuck did Chucky do?
What did it end up being?
It ended up being when they say, okay, right at the end of the scene, they're about to break and all go their separate ways to go get shit done, and Chib says, hey, you can't go on your bike. You got an APB out on you. You got to take the van. So Jax jumps in the van. Later, we see the van pull up. We see Unser pull up in a truck, and he says, and Jax jumps out, and he's like, "What the fuck is this? I got a call from Chucky. Said there was something broken down."
Chucky made the call to Unser.
Right. Told Unser to go pick up a broken down van or car or something like that.
Good pickup. Now Jax says good. Chib comes and says if the Irish shoot this down, Tower will be wiped out, and he'll be really pissed off. He really put his head on the line for you. So. And Jack says he knows and looks like he's going to try to stay strong to the alliance that he formed with Tyler. Because Tyler's really been a big help for him this season.
Oh, yeah.
Gemma sits smoking at the truck stop and she sees a woman with a stroller who checks the vending machine for
Oh, we know this woman. This is the homeless woman we've seen season after season and at various times digging through stuff.
And I've heard people on certain forums refer to her as the Angel of Death, who if a character sees her, they die at some point. But we'll get into that.
Or at least there's main characters get killed. Because today 3 main characters got killed and she showed up. But I think we've seen her in like the beginning of episode montages and stuff, digging through trash here and there. She's definitely some sort of harbinger or metaphor that Kurt Sutter's been working on, or there's definitely something with her, and she's been a recurring theme throughout the entire series.
Now, this is where we get our scene a little bit more with Milo the trucker, Michael Chiklis, and it's very, very fun. He says she's like an ex-wife digging for every nickel because he sees her going for some change. Gemma introduces herself as Rose, which comes for the episode title, Red Rose. Milo says he asks about her and he says, is she on her own? And she says she's heading up north to pick up some tomatoes. Oh no, he's heading up north.
Yeah.
But she asks if he's taking 97 and asks him for a lift. He says, you have a car, and she says she just borrowed it to take a nap. He tells her he's not looking for a roadside Hummer, and this is a funny line by Gemma. She says, how quickly that we went from kids to sucking cock.
Right.
He apologizes because he's been on the road too long. He asks.
Yeah, she's like, I ain't no prostitute. I ain't looking to suck any cock either. So.
I kind of thought for a second that he was going to end up being a scumbag and do some horrible things.
Oh, it would have been awesome if it ended up being that he kidnaps her. Or takes her to the dungeon like the Kurt Russell movie.
Or that he just kills her and Jax ends up finding her and doesn't get the satisfaction of solving it because Chiklis kills. But she says that she needs to get up north to see her dad, who has advanced Alzheimer's. And she might as well be talking to a coat rack. Miley looks at her scar and asks if she's had open heart surgery. And they have a little bit of a talk about getting valves replaced. And she's not looking to hijack him at gunpoint. She's just looking for a ride. She says she's a good Christian girl, just trying to get home to see Daddy. He calls her St. Rose and says that they can't go. He asks if she has any bags, and she says not anymore. So he takes her and ends up driving her up to see her dad. Then we see Unser driving a tow truck, and we already kind of talked about the scene. Jax kind of gets face-to-face with him, and Unser's kind of jokingly goes, "You need 4 guys to harass me." Jax tells
to beat me up again? Yeah.
Tells him what he says. You goaded me into that punch. You knew I'd get pissed off with what you said. Listen, I know who really killed Tara. You got to hear what I have to say. It was
Take
Gemma.
the APB off of me.
Yeah, take the APB off me. I have shit I got to get done. He says Gemma killed her. I know what happened. And he says, listen, I need to call this shit in. And Jax asks him not to. He says, please don't call this in, because if this shit gets to the street and everyone finds out everything got fucked up with the Chinese,
everything's done.
But that being said,
more people die.
But that being said, don't the Mayans and don't Tyler and the Mayan guy already know that?
No, it's not about them. It was about the presidents.
Oh, okay. It was more about. But he tells the presidents later.
He needed to do it. he couldn't come clean after it got out. He has to come clean before it gets out.
I guess that makes sense. I guess.
Because if his hand is forced, it's not he's not coming clean. He was outed. There's a difference.
Then he's definitely surviving. Then he's definitely surviving the mayhem vote because that it's like you came clean. You came to us with all this information.
No. They all look shocked. I think he was safe if he had just kept his mouth shut.
Yeah, I tend to agree too because he really did. If you look at that scene again with Jury, Jax is right about what he said.
Jury's VP, that's now president.
But no, I'm saying the scene in the episode where Jury dies. In that episode, Jury draws on him first. Jax knocks him out. Jax did not go to kill him in that situation.
And Jax says that at the table, which is why I was kind of surprised that when Terminator 2 says,
it's awesome we have Terminator and RoboCop.
Yeah, he says that's outright murder.
Isn't it self-defense?
At the point, because Jury got punched, he started the fight. You're not allowed to hit other members or presidents either.
Okay, I guess that's in line with Sopranos stuff that we've heard when Tony hits Ralphie. And this is the second time we've heard.
Yeah, he's a made man. You can't hit him.
He's a made man. You can't hit him. He's a president of the charter. You can't hit him.
He's a brother.
But we've also seen brothers settle problems with fighting like that.
Yeah. Jax and Clay fought many times.
Yeah. What's to say that Jax and we also saw Jax fight the guy with the Irish before in situations like that too, and the guy didn't draw on him when he hit him.
Yep. We know that that there could have been mayhem votes on Clay that were kept squashed too. Where Clay's hurt members and brothers.
Now, Do Chronic adds, I loved seeing that Chiklis was seeing the Chiklis thing. That was really cool. Yeah, I love him. He is such an awesome actor and such an awesome personality. So to have him be part of the show, and a lot of people were speculating that he would make an appearance at some point. And Kurt Sutter explains it a little bit on Anarchy afterwards. He said he needed a little bit of the shine of the shield to wear off before Vic Mackey just shows up in Sons of Anarchy world, especially when we have the one-niners who exist in both universes and stuff. So he needed a little bit, and he also joked that the character of Milo was a lot more like who Michael Chiklis really is, and it was good to see him almost playing himself in that scene as being awkward and kind of like a goofy guy. So it was another excellent cameo for Sons of Anarchy, one of my favorite of the season.
Yep.
And Duke Chronic also says Jack said to Unser that she got word that Tara was going to rat or something, that was Unser who gave her that idea. So Unser in that moment also probably felt responsibility for Tara's murder in that moment. Very interesting. And he also very good point, Duke Chronic. And he also says that Eli was shot in the situation. The Jews shot Eli. They made up the Chinese lie together. And he says, listen, Unser, that's the truth. He also says he doesn't know where Gemma is. He's been looking for her. Unser tells Jack that he has to report this. We mentioned that. Jack says he has his retaliation against the Chinese, and this can't hit the streets. The streets will run with blood if this information gets up. Unser asks what happens to Gemma, and Jack says if she shows up, I'll deal with it. And Unser's like, what does deal with it mean? Yeah. And Unser, wake the fuck up. Do you not realize what needs to happen here?
Right, and the fact that he doesn't do anything at this point is, I don't understand it. Like, at this point, he knows that it's Gemma's got a death warrant on her head.
Yeah, and how can he just call off the APB when Jax killed 2 guys last week?
Possibly.
Possible. Maybe just injured. I'm sorry. Maybe just critically injured 2 officers when flipping over their car.
Police officers by evasion.
Yeah, just call off that APB. No big deal. No one cares.
Well, maybe he got away, so they can't prove it was him in that car.
Yeah.
The guy's not going to remember. He says to the guy who he carjacks, basically, he says, "Don't rat on me," as he goes to fly away.
Apparently, the guy listened to him. Way to go, Jack. That works. That works. Don't rat on me. Okay, I won't.
Someone stole my car. What did he look like? He looked like a little purple-green thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he looked like Kazoo.
2 feet tall and.
Yeah, he called me a dum-dum. He looked like a Kazoo from the Flintstones. I think he just described. Come here, dum-dums. The dum-dum stole your car. So when Unser's kind of pecking at Jax about what happens to Gemma, Chibs interrupts and says that Packer, that Terminator called, and they have to go. Jax tells Unser he told the truth and asks him to drop the APB. We don't see Unser do it, but we're to imagine that he did do it. Unser agrees, and he calls Jerry, who wasn't in this episode. Unser watches them all leave, and he breaks down crying. I mean, we're not that far connected from a point where Unser told Gemma how much he loves her. He's another one. As bad as he thought Gemma was, I don't think he ever thought that she could kill Katara. I think that's why he didn't come to that realization earlier with all the evidence. Because he probably did and then just quickly left his brain because he's like, Gemma wouldn't really do that.
If he ever really put it together, he did dismiss it. I think he kind of knew when, especially when oh my God, Juicy is saying all that crap at the prison to him.
Right. It must have triggered something in his mind.
You know, he knew, and he might have even put it together before that in his head. Why were they together? Why does he have her car? Why does whatever.
Yeah. And Unser watches them all down while he's breaking down crying. And he's also, as Duke Chronic said, and I agree, was also crying probably because of figuring his responsibility in this, fulfilling Tara's head with whatever information. And then we see Wendy talking to Nero about the farm, and he says he mentioned to Jax that he was going, and Jax asked Wendy and the kids to go with him. She asks if he's talked to Gemma, and Nero keeps it quiet and says no, he hasn't seen her. She says that Jax knows Gemma helped Juice, and Nero says, listen, Wendy, I don't think he's too worried about that. I wouldn't worry too much about that.
And then he's like, oh, you talked to him?
Yep. And Brooke offers to pick up Abel today, but Wendy says she can do it. Wendy says she hates to pull Abel out of school, but says it would be good for him to spend a few days away so he doesn't go all psycho. She agrees to go on the road trip, and Gemma asks if we see Gemma asking if he can borrow some tools and stuff, or excuse me, Nero asking if he can borrow some tools and stuff from the garage. And then we see Jax and the guys come to meet the other leaders at Red Woody, and this is where
there's a nice exchange there. She says, I don't think I didn't peg you as the handy type, and he says, oh, I can manual labor is my middle name. I know manual labor very well. She says, "Oh, next time I'll remember that. Next time I see you hanging out in front of Home Depot." He's like, "Yeah, oh, watch it, junkie girl. You know, you don't want to get on my bad side, junkie whore, or whatever."
And this is where we see some of that chemistry between the two of them, and we see a little bit more from.
You might end up in my trunk. Oh, been there, done that.
And I love it because we see more from Wendy, and we see more from we see a little bit more of what made her such a great actress or great character on The Sopranos. Not the same character, but a little bit more of that fire that we've been missing in Wendy at times.
Oh, really, Christopher? He managed to do it?
You hit on my dog, Christopher! You killed my dog!
She has a good sense of comedic timing.
Yeah, she absolutely.
And this was a great spot for levity in an otherwise very dark episode.
Right, and I guess my association is a lot of times, except for towards the end, her and Christopher were played as the comedy on Sopranos. Like,
yeah, they were very much so.
Listening to Christopher bitch and moan and having her reactions in the same way of My Cousin Vinny with Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei's back and forth. It was I think it was sort of in some ways influenced by that. The way the two of them talk back and forth is very much like Christopher and Adriana on The Sopranos. But that's a different story altogether.
Yeah.
So she asks if he's talked to Gemma. Nero says he doesn't, and all the tools in Home Depot. So we got Jax and all the other leaders at Red Woody. We get the perspective from outside. Rat says they're already at the table. Jax goes in and apologizes for being late. He says he knows they've talked, but he says he has something to say before they deliver a decision. And this is where Joe talked about this earlier. You get a feeling like the decision isn't going into the vice president, the new president. You get a feeling that Jax just kept his mouth shut here. He'd probably be all right.
Right. The new president, Jury's vice president,
looks pissed.
He is pissed. But when Jax starts talking and confessing and explaining everything that happened, and that this guy almost feels like he's being fucked with, or that oh no, everything I've said now is a lie. Maybe you almost get the feeling like there was a possibility that everything was going to be okay, that this guy had kind of advocated, even though Jax did what he did, had kind of advocated, said that the guy pulled his gun, said that he had confessed, and they came to an agreement that Jax was going to be okay. It almost seemed that way when Jax is confessing by the looks on their faces and the reactions to all these presidents, to the four presidents.
It was all shock. He says that Jack says he was so bent on revenge for his wife that jury was just one more thing that got in his way. Now Monroe says his guys are still claiming self-defense, and this is where Jack says jury did go for his gun, but he didn't know if
he was, maybe he wasn't.
Yeah, maybe he was, or maybe he wasn't going to shoot me. He says he killed Jax. I mean, he killed him. He just made a decision. He says he loved
I killed him
jury.
before he could decide. I decided before he could.
When some motherfucker aims a gun on you, you have two choices. According to Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse, including Sam Elliott from Roadhouse, die and kill the motherfucker. And Jax chose the latter. Yep. And he says he loved jury, but he killed him. Monroe says this means a mayhem vote. Packer says he knows the pain he's in over Tara, but says he out murdered jury. And Jax, and I disagree with that. Joe said this earlier.
With that too.
You
die or you kill the motherfucker, like you said.
He aimed a gun at him.
But, what the conversation should have been, you put hands on the other president at that point, because ultimately jury drew his gun because Jax punched him in the face, knocked him down.
Right.
And at the time was being accused of being a rat and a traitor. So.
And could have sensed that Jax was in a mood to kill him.
Correct. That he was there to die anyway.
Right. But in Jax's defense, which I think is legitimate, depending on how the club rules state or whatever, jury drew on him first, and Jax had every right in that moment to kill him in self-defense. You're right. The crime is hitting him, accusing him, and not talking to him, and thinking all these things, and letting him die, letting him be attacked and accused in your own mind because of those reasons. The murder itself, I'd argue, if I was Jackson, I continue to argue that he had no choice. It was fucking self-defense.
Right, and I agree with that way to look at it, kind of. But ultimately, they say it's murder, and Jax doesn't really disagree with that, and they say this means a mayhem vote, and then the vice president that turned president, the redhead, says, hey, that means it has to be unanimous.
Yeah, mayhem has to land, and Jax says
it has to land, right.
And Hench asks if his charter knows, and Packer says Sam Crow needs to know if the vote goes the wrong way. He says president killing president sends a bad message. Jack says he'll make sure they vote to protect the organization, but says he needs something in return. He says that there's a bylaw that's been around since the old man. We talked about this before, about letting the. I think we all agree that this is about letting the grim bastards in. But
and the reason, and they don't say it, but it's been. Jax is not a racist. He really likes the Grim Bastards. He works with all sorts of colored people. He doesn't like the fact that other people are racist. Yeah, he's got a touch of bigotry in him and stuff like that, where he's not completely innocent on being racial at times. But I really feel like he knows that all of this started from Juicy being blackmailed by the sheriff.
By the sheriff, because he was afraid to come to him, and a lot of this could have been, some part of this could have been averted by that never happening.
Right, and I'm not sure, but at some point in one of the series, maybe there's a discussion about the Grim Bastards trying to be patched in, or just that they're a support club and stuff like that. So it's a quite a possibly good bet that that's what that involves.
Then we get a little perspective from the guys on the outside. We see Tig saying the best case scenario is self-defense, and they paid damages. Rat asks what the worst case, and Chibs tells him to stop fucking asking questions. He doesn't want to hear about the worst case. Packer says, they'll make the vote unanimous and honor his request. We go back into the other room, and Packer says to Jax that they'll make that vote about the Grim Bastards. Again, we're not even debating that. That's what it is. Unanimous and
prove us wrong, Kurt Sutter, essentially.
If it isn't that, Kurt Sutter's wrong.
He gets to prove us wrong, right? Yeah.
Jax thanks them and picks up the gavel and tells them it's been a privilege to serve as president. He says he's sorry he couldn't live up to it, He lays the gavel on its side. The meeting adjourns, and Packer shakes Jack's hands and follows the other ones out. The question I want to know before we go a little further is what do they mean when it has to be a unanimous vote? Unanimous by all the presidents, or every member of Sons of Anarchy have to agree to it?
I think it's the presidents, and then I think they were basically saying, make sure your club knows that this is what's going to happen, and none of them go rogue. And I think it might be just a president vote, and they want to make sure that the other members understand that it is going to be a unanimous vote, that they have to be along with it too.
Right. And Jax goes and he tells the guys that he'll be fine and he'll fill them in later and what happens. Tig says Rourke wants to meet, and he says to tell him they're on their way. Chibs pulls him aside and asks him what happens, to be like, listen, I know you don't talk to anybody else, but you usually talk to me. Tell me what's going on here. And Jack says, listen, I'll tell you later, and stop worrying about me. And he says he knows what he's doing. Listen to me. I know what I'm doing. Chibs asks if he wants him to handle the Rourke situation, but he says they can all go, and we'll bring Tig and Happy, and it'll be a party. We'll bring all the best guys. We'll bring the whole team, and it'll be fine. Chibs says he can get the van, but Jack says it's fine. The APB's gone. He's riding. So then we get Chickless dropping off Gemma at the old folks' home. The woman, this was kind of funny, the whole woman being a bitch to Gemma at the front desk, and it shows the state of where Gemma's mind is.
That's another cameo there. Who was that, Katie?
Oh, Charisma Carpenter.
Charisma Carpenter.
She was on Buffy the Vampire
Buffy.
Ah, okay, we have a Buffy the Vampire Slayer sighting. And the woman says he's still out, that her dad's still out with the church group, if visiting the local parish. The woman says she doesn't see her name on the visitor list, and Jeff says she checked him in, and she says, well, the name on the list is Tara Knoll.
Snap!
I was like, oh, you didn't just say that, did you?
The conservator of him, his conservator, is basically his guardian or whatever, is Tara, the doctor, which made sense for her to do back whenever she did it.
And Gemma says she died a couple months ago. Uh-oh, she died. Poor girl. Gemma asks her to check.
Well, she gets a little snarky herself. She says, that's going to be a little hard to do.
A little bit, but Gemma seems a little castrated in this scene. A little bit like this, like normal Gemma would go in there, fists ablazing, and be screaming and yelling and saying.
Right, well, she can't get picked up by the cops right now.
Yeah, but usually Gemma doesn't give a shit about this. We've seen Gemma on parole or in bad situations before, and it doesn't stop her. I just think this whole situation's really taking a toll on her, and she knows she's dead woman walking here anyway. She doesn't give a shit.
But the nurse goes and checks on it and comes back and tells her, hey, okay, who are we going to put as the new conservator?
You.
Gemma tells her, Wendy.
Wendy, put Wendy there. So we go over to Juice after we cut away from Gemma here, and he's all banged up from the punch, and he's likely sore from, all the backdoor action. And he lies down on the bunk with the book of poetry Telly left for him. Then we see Tig and the others showing up to meet at an antique shop, and we see that the owners are tied up. The IRA guys.
Rourke is there.
Rourke.
I think we should hear Tig say, like, everybody is stunned. They're looking around like, uh-oh, what did we just walk into?
Yeah, we're dead.
One of the guys, I think it's either, it's not Tig, it's Happy. I think we should be leaving. Yeah. Chibs is like, yeah, that's a good idea.
And Rourke's kind of on the phone call, and he puts the phone down, and he tells them that, listen, guys, no danger. He says Connor, that's Connor, and Connor and him had a heated argument. He says Casper, Jimmy O, all the guys that have died, and now Connor, they don't...
No, that's not Connor. Connor's on the run. That's Connor's men that he sent and left behind to give a message or whatever.
No, that's Connor. He says...
No, they have to go kill Connor. That's the deal. Go kill Connor now.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I confused him.
Because he says, the Rourke says, listen, you're in no danger. It's just, this is where he explains Connor's been skimming off the top, charging Marx's customers, Marx's prices. We
kind of already talked about this earlier, and I put this on the other guy. But yeah, this is when DeClaren, I think is his name, and tells him...
I thought this was Rourke.
It was Rourke and DeClaire, and there's another guy there as well, I believe.
Okay, he basically tells him, and now what we want you to do is you got to go kill O'Connor. Jax is apprehensive about it. He doesn't really want it. He said, really? I get a feeling like we don't have a choice here. He's like, yeah, but it's not all bad. You do this, and I'll talk to the other kings, and I'll make them do your Mexican deal on a trial basis at least.
Yep. Rourke says he'll push through the Mexican proposal if he does it. And then he tells him DeClan, I think his name is, I forget what the guy's name is, will stay to make sure it's done and tells them to keep him appraised of the situation.
Right.
Jack says they need to keep Connor's guy alive for now in case they need him. That's why I got confused, because it was Connor's guy. They walk out wondering where Connor might be, and Jax tells Happy to call Tyler and says Connor doesn't know that Tyler's with them. He says to have them call back. This is what it gets into, like almost the vein of technobabble from Star Trek sometimes with Sons of Anarchy. Like,
right. Well, there's a lot of convoluted setup going on.
You tell this guy to tell this guy to tell Ferris to meet me at 31 Flavors. And,
right.
and Happy goes to make the call. Jack gets a call from Wendy, who says his grandfather's nursing home made another call that says Gemma's visiting the dad. And he says he didn't know that, and Jax says, I got shit to do. She says Gemma isn't answering her cell phone and doesn't know when she'll be back. She asks if it's still cool if she goes with Nero or he needs her help. He says Chucky can handle it and tells her to go. She says it's a good idea, and he tells her to enjoy herself. Nero comes in, and Tara says, Jax found out where Gemma is. He's visiting his dad, and Jax is on his way up there.
Well, no, he kind of has to put it together. She says, He says, "Oh, you that was Jax? Yeah, I was just telling him about the farm. He thinks it's a great idea." And he's like, "Oh yeah, does he know where his mom is?" He goes, "Yeah, no, he doesn't. That was the funny thing. She's up visiting her father. I had to tell him."
Right, I had to tell him where it is.
Like she still hasn't put any of this shit together. She's clueless about it. She's just happy to be back in the fold.
She's not very bright. Wendy's not the brightest bulb in the tree.
Yeah,
and
she's not altogether stupid either, but
I think she's street smart, but she's not smart like someone like Tara, if she was still alive, would definitely figure this out.
Yeah.
Even though if it was the other way around, if they were flipped and Wendy was the person killed and Tara was whatever. I guess that doesn't make sense. So Nero speeds up because he figures out that this whole situation, he has to get out of there to try to figure to do something. And Nero, like everybody, wants something done but doesn't want to do it himself. Nero speeds up and finds Unser. He tells Unser he needs a favor. He says he needs to tell him something about Tara's murder, that it wasn't the Chinese, and Unser says he already knows, that Jax told him all about Gemma. He asks if the sheriff knows. Unser says no, not yet. Nero says Gemma went to go see her dad, and Jax knows. He asks Unser to go up there and arrest her, and says it's the only thing that can keep her alive. He begs him. I disagree with this by what Nero did here. Why not have why not say you should call the sheriffs and have the whole fucking police station head up there, because that's the only way to stop this from happening.
That is actually the only way to have had it stopped. He should have called immediately ahead and been like, listen, this is this woman's there. She's wanted for questioning. He should have gone through the sheriff woman and had that done. I absolutely agree.
I know it's against code, whatever, to go to like the real cops. So
because he is a real cop. He's carrying a badge, isn't he? Didn't she give him a badge as a consultant?
Yeah, I guess so. No, you're right. And he still has that. He's as good as a cop as Billy the Kid was in the Young Guns movie. When they deputize him and stuff. Ducroc says Chucky listened in on the Wayne and Nero conversation. He did. He listened to this whole, was kind of dropping some ease, Mr. Frodo, from the Shire over there. And Nero says Gemma went to go see her dad, and he begs him. Unser agrees to go, and he asks Nero if he still loves her, and he says it's not about saving Gemma. Joe said this earlier. It's about saving Jax. Chucky, who was listening to this whole situation, asks Unser what's going on and kind of plays dumb a little bit, like Chucky always does. He's very good at playing dumb. He says he has to go get Gemma, and he tells Chucky to stay because Chucky kind of wants to come. He says Gemma will be pissed if they leave TM unsupervised. We need to stay here and watch everything. He says text him the dad's address. And this is where Chucky says, tell her he loves her. And Unser agrees and speeds off. He did not tell Gemma that Chucky loves her, but they already said their goodbyes, and
Right.
and they're the best friends, and Gemma accepts that. She accepts it. Now we get Tyler meeting with Jax, and he agrees to help, but he says he asks how this helps him, Jax says locking down the gun deal benefits his group. Tyler says the Mayans can overrun them, and this is where we get a little bit of Tyler big panic.
The Mayans will overrun them. We got to move into the Chinese territory, and we can't do that without you. And that's what we really need done. And Jax is kind of bent over a bench, and he says, "Yeah, we'll do it. Absolutely, whatever you need, brother, and we'll go do it. We'll do it tonight. It's gotta be tonight."
No, Jax says, but it can't be tonight. I got other stuff.
It has to be tonight because he's got other.
Jax says, "Oh, they can do it tonight. Yeah, they can get it all done tonight." But Jax isn't going to do this himself.
No. He ends up going. We see later. He says,
"That's what I mean." He ends up going off.
You go do it. I got something. I got to go take care of something else.
Right, because he said right after this he says he'll be there to meet with Connor tomorrow to take Connor down and figure that whole situation out. He tells Tyler it will be all good once they handle this. But then Jax tells Chibs that, I know Tyler says he needs me in this situation, but I'm out of here. I have some more important matters to handle. Chibs, you handle this situation with the Niners. He says he needs to head up north and he has to go alone. He says it's family problems, and everyone knows what that means. Yeah. He gets on his bike and he goes. Now, the girl at the desk who was being a douchebag to Gemma, or just being good at her job, I guess.
Yada yada through this. She lets Gemma in. Gemma puts Wendy down as the thing. She sees her dad. Her dad's fucking nuts. It's the guy from he's not. He's got Alzheimer's. It's the guy from that played the boyfriend to one of the designing women back 100 years ago.
You're absolutely right. It's a yada yada moment. We get to see Gemma with her dad.
I remember Gemma. She liked to. Oh, she was a sweet girl. She liked to be in the garden. Always good girl in the garden.
Which was the whole the whole foreshadowing of how she dies later in the episode, when the whole to go around that metaphor of red rose and to be blah 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 blah. A little heavy-handed, but it is what it is.
And then she takes off and she goes back to her father's abandoned house. That's all she did, and like closed, locked up, and everything.
Right. And after the scene, we get Juice coming into the cafeteria, and we see the Chinese giving him that. Yeah, we had that ass kind of look. And he sits down with Manson, and he says, "Manson, listen, the Chinese are going to kill me. They know you helped me, and they want you dead. They want me to rat on you, and they want me to kill you too. And I'm going to kill you." After Manson sends all his guys away. And Manson has a really funny line where he looks at him, he goes, "You've kind of removed the element of surprise to kill me." And Juice says, "No, it's not about that. I don't want your deal with the Sons to get all fucked up. I know you really love me. I've been reading those love poems. So I want to get you to kill me, because I don't want to be raped and tortured and killed slowly by these Chinese. I think you'll kill me quickly. Here's the shiv. Kill me right now."
Well, no.
Oh, not yet.
It would look bad for the club, and they would want to have retaliation, but if the Chinese did it instead, because Jax wanted it done quick. But he also says, he doesn't say do it right now.
No, I forgot. He says, "Let me eat my pie first."
My cherry pie.
Cherry pie. Be my cherry pie. I wanted that song to kick in right there.
Yeah.
The cherry pie. I think that would have been awesome. And in this kind of, we get a little bit of a passage of time moment with Juice eating his cherry pie and having his last meal. And then Tully, we see the guys back over at the table where Tully's got his all plans set up. He sends the guys off to kind of start a riot
with the Chinese and the blacks or whatever.
Yeah, in the just to get a big thing going on, to get a distraction. And Juice gives Manson the knife, says, Do your worst, goodbye," and Manson whispers in his ear, "You died well." Or what does he say? Something like, you went out well, I think he says to him.
Yeah, he says something nice to him.
Yeah, it was kind of hard. It was mumbled a little bit. And he cuts his throat and
stabs him a bunch of times in the neck and shoulder.
Yep, and it's done. It's done, and Juice falls down, and Juice is dead.
Bleeds to death. Bleeds out on the floor of the cafeteria in the prison. Yeah. Sad moment. Sorry to see you go, Juicy. I wished you had lived through it. You were treated poorly by the police and your brothers. Your hand was forced, and you rat-fucked it. Got what you deserved.
Yeah, and he went out well. It was a good. It was a. Oh, we forgot. Yeah, we forgot. Sorry, Ducronic. We had a very great shot, which again got mentioned in Anarchy afterwards. That it was that the director knew this and mentioned that Juice had a spork.
He did have a spork. It also showed the numbers on the back of his head when it came over. Showed him for the last time. Showed his whole head tattoo. The numbers on the top. So I wasn't sure the significance of, but maybe his birthday, the day he was made or became a member of the club.
So then we see Gemma in the house, as we mentioned, and she's in the house looking through pictures and mementos. The door opens and it's Unser. She doesn't even look up from what she's doing. Unser says he didn't see the car. How's she there? She says she's there, and she sits down. She's kind of being a little crazy, being like, "Oh, look at the pictures. I did good in school. This is where I got an A plus and or B minus."
It wasn't just that she did good in school. It was a report on the Second Amendment, which is the gun shit.
Yeah.
Bearing arms and stuff, and she got a B plus on it. She knew where she was going even back then.
Yeah, and he tells her that Jax is on the way, and he doesn't know what he'll do.
Knows.
And she says she doesn't care. She says she does. Yeah, she says she knows what he's gonna do, and she asks her not to make him call the local cops. And he says we can do this quietly, and she says that's not her style.
Yeah, do what you need to do, Unser, but I ain't going anywhere. And then Jax walks in.
Yeah, right as he's starting to make the call. Jax comes in and he tells Jax he's arresting her and taking her back to Charming. Jax says he needs to be alone with his mother, and Unser says, I can't do that. I can't.
He takes out his gun. Jax takes out his gun.
And they get a little bit of a standoff with the guns, and Jax puts his gun down and says, listen, Unser, just go home. Just go. Just go. And Unser turns to him. We mentioned this before. He says...
Turns to Gemma and stares at her for a second in silence, all doughy-eyed, kind of. And then
Gemma doesn't say a word. She just
Gemma's silent the whole time, and he says, this is all I got. And then he looks back at Jax.
And then Jax pulls out the gun and shoots him right in the fucking heart. Dead.
One round in the heart. Yep.
Unser.
Dead before he hit the ground, probably.
I could not fucking believe it that he did this.
I could believe it. I knew exactly that was going to happen. And you knew that was going to happen for a long time, that the club was going to kill him at some point. And like you said, I kind of looked at it like a mercy killing too. He was going to have he didn't have much longer. He had cancer. It was terminal. They said over and over again. So.
And you're right. He's right. He didn't have much else besides solving this case and protecting Gemma. And Gemma, by killing Tara, killed a lot of people and lost hope to a whole generation of people. Lost hope because of Gemma being what she did to Tara. Like all the Gemma minions, and he was the president of the Gemma minions. So here we go. Jax.
Henchman number one.
Now we see Nero speeding up to. Oh no, I'm sorry, I went ahead a little bit. So Unser is. I think Unser was a great character. They mentioned a lot in Anarchy afterwards that Unser wasn't a big character at first, and then every season, Kurt Sutter said he tried to figure out what to do with Unser, and he wasn't sure at first, and then ultimately he ended up becoming so much a part of the season.
Well, yeah, they did a great thing with him. He realized, this is a guy that's been in the town just as long as the club, and there's a lot of history there, and he worked on that. And shows great adaptation from Kurt Sutter and how he writes and how he forms his stories. And Unser did end up being a major part of the episode, of the series rather. And the guy that played the character, I can't think of his name at the moment, is great actor.
Yeah, did an excellent job. Ducronic adds, Nero sent Unser to Gemma's father's. Nero, when he finds out that Unser's dead, is going to shit. And I tend to agree that he's probably going to be more shocked by the whole Unser being...
No, he won't.
I think so. I think he is. I think you misunderstand the heart of how much he freaks out when people get killed. Like, I think Nero's going to freak out about this.
Possible.
I think Nero's going to freak out about this. I don't think he's going to do anything crazy like kill Jax, but I think there's going to be a lot of crying. You're going to see a lot of puppies and a lot of crying.
He just grabs the kids and Wendy next week and bugs the fuck out.
That's what he should do. That's really what he should do.
Nor call.
So after the killing Unser thing, Jack sits down on the sofa holding his gun, and Gemma shows him a photo of his granddad from World War II. And Jax actually looks really happy to see this photo. He smiles, and she sits in the chair and asks.
Yeah, she just leans right over Unser's body to show him the picture.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how it's very psycho killer murdery vibe here with the two of them with the dead body just on the ground and walking out. And they say she asks if anybody else knows, and he says the club knows. She says Nero had no idea or anything that what happened. He wasn't protecting her. He just loved her. And Jack says he knows. She says Nero is a good man and he should stay close to him. The record Gemma was playing on the record player ends, and he asks if she still has a copy of JT's manuscript. And this is where another reason why I think the JT thing is going to come full circle somehow at the end. Because why necessarily is he asking for this manuscript? Maybe he's going to present it to the club before he dies and tell them that they should change everything to follow the rules that are set.
With the final chapter that he wrote?
Perhaps. Now she tells him it's in the storage locker with his brother's birth certificates.
With his and his brother's birth certificate and death certificates.
Now, which Joe mentioned last night in the thing that he bet that Gemma had something to do with the other kid's death too. Her
brother. When she's with her father, he says, "Oh, I had a son." She's like, "Yeah, you did," and I was like, "Oh, Gemma's first victim."
Yep. She tells him that she loved Tara, and he says don't. He kind of stops him, like he stopped Juice and stuff. And she says it's not an excuse, that she's not defending herself, that she barely remembers what happened that night. That's the only kind of defense that she has. She remembers everything that happened that night. Because Jack says it did happen, and she says yes, it did. She says all the other things became of that lie she didn't see coming.
No shit.
You an apology can't touch what he's feeling. She stands up and sighs and says she'd like to go outside to the garden. Is that okay? And he nods and says okay, and they go out to the garden. She starts looking at the flowers. Look at the flowers, girls.
She never looks back at Jax either after she goes out to the garden.
Never does, once she walks away. And then Jax pulls the gun on her, and he starts crying, and he can't do it, or it looks like he can't do it for a second.
She talks him into it. She goads him into it without being manipulative either. It was the one time I wished he just wouldn't listen to his goddamn mother for once in his fucking life. She don't listen to her.
So sweet. She says, "Listen, sweetheart. It's okay, sweetheart. Do what you are.
You have to do it.
I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. I'm proud of you." And I agree. I think the true torture of her right there would have been to leave her there and put her in a jail cell. I think the real torture of Gemma would have been to have her arrested and sit in a cell for the rest of her life and have to not kill her.
Right.
Never again see her grandson.
Never, exactly, Katie. Never see anything, never have any connection to a family, and to know that she got her son killed because of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So Jax, no, he.
But then again, he has to do it.
He does have to do it in the eyes of everybody in his club, because if he doesn't do it, he's a pawn. Like, he needs to do this for his club, if any other reason. She says, "This is who we are as people, Jackson. You need to do this." And that's the final straw that gets him. He realizes she's right, and
he let her decide.
Pow! Shoots Katie Seagal right in the head. The world cheers. The world of Sons of Anarchy cheer as Gemma.
Bells rang across the country.
And also trumps all the other deaths of the episode. Like, makes everybody else's death almost seem like an afterthought of the episode. Makes Juice and Unser be like, oh yeah, they died too.
Yeah, it was the third and final big murder of the episode too, after Unser and Juicy's deaths.
So then we get our montage with an Ed Sheeran song, no less, that I didn't recognize it because it was a different kind of tune, and Kurt Sutter talks a little bit about it on the Anarchy afterwards, that Ed Sheeran was a fan of the show and contacted him about like really loving the musical direction of the show, and Sutter's like, write a fucking song, and we'll put it, and we'll see if it works. And
just include this line to open it.
He's like, I let Katie Seagal write songs all the time for the show, and she sucks. She doesn't have a hit song with her. Come on.
We always lose viewers for the final montage.
Say something.
No, people love her music. I think we're in the minority of
No,
the
no,
small haters.
I like her music too. I just don't like it in Sons of Anarchy episodes. I find it a little bit too, in thread of another word, a little bit too meta. Of like, here she is singing in a scene with her in the scene.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little too much for me. It takes me out of it, and I'm like, oh, this is just complete Katie Seagal admiration. love.
Advertisement.
Yeah, it's like, here you go, and look, they're watching Futurama on the TV, and Married with Children DVDs on the table. I mean, it just seems like it should be that kind of situation. So yeah, she says it's
about Matilda or something. Is that what she was in?
Matilda. She was also on Glee, so I guess she's going to be appearing in the back half of the finale season of Glee as well. So that night, the MC goes down into our montage, kills all the Chinese guys that they can find in the street, while Wendy peeks in on Abel, and she goes to check on Thomas. We see Juice's body checked in by the coroner and shrouded. The MC goes into a Chinese card game, shoots up the thugs there. Nero comes back to Gemma's place and looks around kind of sadly. And he goes
There's a couple of shoot 'em up scenes. There's one in front of a club, too.
Yeah, we see a lot of action getting done. He goes into
It's the regular Sons of Anarchy montage closing.
Right. We see, and at the end of it all, we see Jax coming in at home, taking off his vest from another hard day at the office. He hangs it up neatly, and he sits down in the living room. He takes off his sneakers, sits on the couch.
Covered in blood sneakers, and he neatly tucks them away to the side of the couch.
They're the new Jordans. He beat someone up from in a line on his way home. He stopped by a Foot Locker to get the new Jordans, and he.
Well, I think we see the blood land on his foot in the last episode.
Yep. And
so it's someone's blood. Maybe he gets put away for murder. When he gets picked up on his APB, they find his bloody shoes and have him for someone's murder. Last week, someone got killed. I forget who.
And those cops, but a couple of people get killed. People get killed every day in Sons of Anarchy. And he takes off his shoes and he puts the blood shoes away out of the sight. And he sits down and he sees.
That's going to come back to bite him. I guarantee it. Watch, we'll see.
And he looks up and he sees Wendy. And Wendy sits down and asks him if he's okay, and he says, "No, I'm not okay, Wendy." And she touches his face just to be like, "Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay?" And he leans in to show her, "Oh yeah, it's fine. You're getting it tonight, girl. There's nothing like some mother-killing sex. That turns me on." And he leans in and he kisses her, and then we go bam into a porn scene with Wendy.
She drags him off to the bedroom.
More Hunnam ass.
And we see him putting it in, and we see the thrusting cheeks, the dimples. No jackrabbit thrust though. You never see a
reverse Game of Thrones here, where we get all Hunneman ass and naked body, but Wendy has
Where's her ass?
We get a nightgown. We don't even get her in a bra. We don't even get with her with a bathing suit on. We get her in a big long negligee where
pajamas. It's a real moment. She was ready for bed when he got home. She's not like sitting in the bedroom waiting to be all porn queen.
Rip it off. You should be ready at all times. With living in a house with Charlie Hunneman and that plump ass, you gotta be ready at all times, Joe.
Katie's sick of his ass. She doesn't like it that much.
It's too much. Same with Stephanie. She's like, it's too much ass. I've seen too much of his ass. It becomes like Tom Cruise's ass in the 80s. It's just white noise. You're like, oh, there's Tom Cruise's ass.
Not enough Chib's ass or Bobby ass.
Yeah, we need some Bobby ass.
Give us some options.
Give us some option. Give us some happy. Get happy naked. I know some girls would be happy about that.
Happy ass.
Happy ass.
We got Juice ass. We got Juice ass doing naked push-ups.
Yeah, that was a must. So they go and do it.
Everybody got Juice ass. Jesus. Have at it, boys.
We see, and then at the end we see Unser's dead body on the floor. We see Gemma dead. We see Wendy taking it from behind. It's an amazing end to an episode, Joe. It's a big far cry from
Is this where we get Smitty also going in and looking at pictures in Gemma's?
That was a little earlier in the episode. We grazed over that a little bit, but we also it's fair to mention that in our last sexy montage, Wendy was using a vibrator on herself. So this is good to see Wendy upgraded.
What she was thinking of.
Yeah, right, when he was having Bizarro sex with Bizarro Tara. So now he's figured it out, and now we're leading up into the finale of Sons of Anarchy with a lot, like we said, with all that shit out of the way. No Juice to kill, no Unser, no Gemma stuff.
Yeah, so I just thought of it. The Tara lookalike. She was the same girl that was the Jew pimp Sua.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That was the connection there. We have a couple more comments from Duke Chronic. Says Kurt is pretty smart in getting a lot of the royalties back. The intro he wrote. Oh, really? He wrote the intro. Interesting. And Bobby's blood was on his shoe and Gemma's last night. And Wendy's dimples. We're in a really amazing situation for a really exciting finale with a lot of action. I'm super excited for the finale of Sons of Anarchy. I can't believe the show is actually ending, but I think Sutter's setting this up for a real kick-ass, bloody finale.
I hope it's bloody. I hope it's wall-to-wall action. I doubt it will be all that, but I really hope so.
No, there's got to be a couple of We're going to get a lot of reactions to Gemma being dead next week. The beginning half of the episode is going to be a lot of Jimmy Smits dealing with the fact that Gemma's dead, finding out that Unser's dead, confronting Jax about, listen, Hermano, I told you this would kill you, brother. Blah, blah, blah. Or maybe what you said, Jimmy Smits running off with the kids. Like, once he finds out of being like, I got to get Jax away from these kids because he's just going down. Or maybe even Jax saying, listen, I'm about confiding in him about what's going to happen with the Mayhem vote and telling him to take his kids because he doesn't want his kids to be around all of that. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes in this final episode and how he closes everything off here. And it's kind of sad because it seems like there could be a lot more to this show, but I'm also happy that they're wrapping it up before it gets too ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a residential neighborhood too that Jack's just shot 2 people in. So I'm sure the police have been called. He's got only limited time to get. Oh, he's already back home. So
I think when it comes down to it,
bodies are still laying there.
I stopped trying to advise real life situations on this show. If real life situations, Jax would have been arrested in jail and never out for half the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
And never. I mean, all those cops knew they were chasing Jax. They saw him on the damn motorcycle.
He got back from Oregon that night. Didn't they say that he lived in Oregon?
Yeah. I guess that's not that. I mean, it could have been right over the border. I've driven, or no, they live in like Central.
Oregon to San Francisco is a.
I've driven that in one night before. I was working with a friend of ours, a friend of Joe and I's named Nick. I was working balloons in Oregon.
It's still a few hours. It's like 4 or 5 hours.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a long drive. It was a long drive, but it was right over the Oregon border. It wasn't like deep into it, but wasn't deep into it. But do you know what we're gonna get deep into? The Sons of Anarchy finale next week, everybody. We will be back next Wednesday evening to talk about it. Sorry about the technical difficulties here.
We're going to go deep into that episode like it was juicy.
I'm going to take down both these videos and edit them together so it's one simultaneous video so you don't have to go back and forth. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Duke Chronic, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Jax is on borrowed time. He doesn't have time to clean up, and he just has time to fix it all in time. Maybe fix it all for the rest of the club, but he doesn't have time to hide from all of this, and I agree. Thank you, Duke Chronic. We hope to see you next week. We hope to see everybody next week to talk more about some Sons of Anarchy. If anybody's into the Game of Thrones video game or have been tuned into that, you can check out my playthroughs of that. And if you're watching this live, I'll be back finishing that up in a couple of hours today. I just have a couple of errands to go out and run, and I'm going to come back and finish up Chapter 1 of that game, too, and get that up on the channel today as well. So, everybody, thank you so much. This video will be up in its entirety by this evening. Everybody can check out all our past podcasts at issuesprogram.com. Please subscribe if you haven't done that already. Please comment away about what you thought of this week's episode of Sons of Anarchy and what you're hoping to see from the series finale. Joe, have a good day. Enjoy work this evening.
You too, my man.
Thank you. Talk to you guys later. Good night or good day.